welcome to the Cosmic Unity Temple podcast. Welcome to another episode. This is Sabina,
Dorota.
and today we will talk about acceptance, and Dorotka will give us a little preview of what that entails.
So when it comes to acceptance, few things that we wanted to touch base on. Acceptance is not resignation. Just because we accept something doesn't mean that we are surrendering. Foundation acceptance can be foundation for change. Also, self-compassion, and it will help us reduce suffering when we accept things that we cannot control. It frees us from the mental chaos that it creates in our head. And we want to expand on our points now. So, acceptance is not resignation. How about that, Sabinka?
That's a very good point, because a lot of times when something happens or somebody does our harm, we think, how can we accept it? It wasn't just, it wasn't right. But it's not about the fact that we're accepting that what they did was okay. It's about the fact that we're accepting our reality and what happened, and we are here and now. And acceptance allows us to see our reality and face it, without blaming others for what they did, without expecting them to fix it or to change it, because that ties into the paradigm of negativity.
Yeah.
And a paradigm where we always blame the other party. So we don't really have a way to change it because we're not the one responsible in it. But when we accept the reality and we accept that, somebody has their own path, this is what they're learning, this is what they're doing, we face that reality, and we are the ones who are now deciding that we can make a change.
So we acknowledge that there's a difference. We accept there's a difference. That doesn't mean that we giving up who we are and that we are giving up on our beliefs and what we wanted to do in our lives.
Right. Yeah. So in that moment, we bring that power back, and we can bring an action, and we can change things, and we bring that responsibility into our life.
We allow others to be who they are.
Yes.
We allow them to believe in what they want to believe and exist with our own beliefs next to those people that have different view on things, on life, on subjects in life.
And and everybody has a lesson, so we have to honor the fact that everybody has their own path, and everybody needs to learn, and we cannot really expect them to learn. And if we live in a place where we want others to change, and we've all been there. I've been there. Dorota has been there. This is one of the phases of learning how to accept.
Let me heal you. I know how it's done.
Others have their experiences and have their traumas, and they got to figure it out. And only they can. We can't really do that for them, because when that doesn't click in their mind and their heart, we can say all we want to say. It just won't be there. So we are responsible for our own life and our own doing. And at that moment when we bring in that action and we raise that vibration and we let go of those things, by accepting, like Dorotka said, we release the suffering. And what's suffering? Suffering is, feeling guilty, feeling or blaming others, being in that mass consciousness and that victim consciousness. And we release the denial, we release resistance, we release judgment. So to me, acceptance is like this magic trick. When you learn how to accept, you overcome all these other things, other emotions, and then things will change. And you know what? Sometimes, yes, it's hard, because when you raise your vibration, people who are not there yet, or who don't understand or who still need to learn more, they might fall off. They might be jealous. They might be angry at you. All
Right.
kinds of things can happen. But
That,
that's when you see that you're making a shift.
yes, that resistance to the change. So when we
Mm,
accept what is, we are opening the door to create a change. Let's
mm,
just talk examples, right? When we are choosing what we're gonna do as far as jobs, right? We
mhm,
choose to do one thing, and when we go for it, it constantly backfires. And we get angry, disappointed, and we resist to, we don't want to accept that this is maybe not the route we should be going. So we are blocking ourselves from opening the door to maybe something new, maybe something that
mhm.
would allow us to grow. So when we finally sit down and say, okay, universe, I'm open. What else is there for me? Where can I learn? Where can I grow? Where can I expand? Sometimes, that simple saying, when one door closes, the other opens. And we always say, you didn't get it because maybe somewhere out there is something better for you, something that will create more opportunities or something that will enrich your life, right? So once we accept that maybe this is not the route, we are able to create a change in our life.
Right. Yes. And
And
we
that
already,
mental chaos, that
mm,
struggle, we free ourselves from the headache, basically,
right,
right?
right, right. And we become one with the flow. And that's also
Yes.
when you flow, you don't resist. And resistance can be towards good things, towards bad things, towards, anything, things you want to accomplish. If you're afraid, if you think that you're not going to get it, if you're worried about not getting it, these are all feelings that we're holding in our energy field, and then they can affect that path. But it's all good. It's all how it's supposed to be. So we got to accept our path and what happens.
Yeah,
And yeah, that releases all this chatter, woo, which is so good when it's not there, not
exactly.
overthinking. Oh, they didn't like me. They didn't like my because there's all kinds of things you gotta go through interviews and stuff, like your self-worth
Yeah.
is on a line constantly when you do this, but it's your practice. It's you talking to the universe. And what really works for me, and I've been experiencing that a lot lately, and I like that idea, is saying that universe knows what I want, you know, on a
And you
higher
need to ask
level.
though, right?
Right.
I was reminded just recently in a conversation with one of my friends that you need to be able to ask for that help, because if you
Mm,
don't ask for guidance, you don't ask for help, you don't say, okay, I get it, this is not the route, what is it then?
yeah.
Show me,
Show me.
give me a
Hmm.
sign, direct me, bring
Yes.
people, I don't know,
Yes.
turn on the TV and something comes
Messages.
up, whatever it is, however you can speak to me, knock on a door, mailman brought something, boom, okay, I can do this, not being mailman, but
Yeah.
it comes in funniest ways sometimes, and very, very simple ways. Sometimes somebody says something in not even towards you, but to somebody
Mm,
else, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
duh. How about
People,
that? How
yes.
about that?
People
Yeah.
always, there's always messages. And then that brings another topic a little bit in, because what language do we speak? How that shows up in our life, like we have to have that awareness. We have another podcast about awareness that we did before,
Yes.
so you have to have that awareness of how universe talks to you, okay, and notice the things that it says, because if we are always negative, we won't see those good pointers. So that's very important.
I think important is to keep asking questions. I learned from Angela. asking questions gives you more information about you and things around than getting answers. So ask questions. What else can I do? What
Mhm.
else should I see? What else is out there? Just keep asking questions and accepting the fact that this route is not for me at this moment. You don't have to drop things and say, okay, never again, I'll do that, because that's not never again. I have learned in my life that sometimes when you say never again, that never again comes back and hits you right in the forehead between your eyes, and the never again you have to swallow, accept it,
Right.
and still
Um,
go for it, right?
yes, yes, you no, don't give up. We never give up. It's always a constant journey.
Yeah.
And one more thing that I wanted to add for that I see acceptance is, when we accept things, we're starting to see things in a positive way. So, oh, somebody has their path. It's okay that they did this. I'm gonna change my path. If we're attracting that and outside of us, what's within us that's bringing it to us. So this is all in the work. Accepting others is all in the work. And then when we live in that negative polarity and we bring the positive into our life, we kind of become balanced. We see the negative, we see the positive. We we are becoming one with everything. So it's like our crown chakra starts opening because now we're one with it all. We see that everybody has a path. Everybody has a piece in this journey and it's all connected. And even though somebody did us harm, there's a lesson, there's a positive lesson in that. And we got to bring that out because we attracted this person. So we got to go there. And when it comes to balance, when it comes to us seeing the path, being one with everybody, that's our protection. Okay. That's when those negative things don't touch us so much. That's when they don't really trigger us so much because now we accept that things happen, people do things, but we become focused on our path and our reality that we're creating. And that's the best that we can do. And that's why we are here, in the first place. And so acceptance is the prerequisite to any healing. If you want to do any healing, you have to accept where you are.
Learn at least, if not have to, create that allowance within to
Yeah.
accept things. Many times we deviate from our target situation, target jobs, and then we find that people we meet on that journey enrich our lives. We help them and they help us understand things. So it's not always, it's not a, acceptance is a good thing. It creates the flow in life. I was thinking before this podcast, wait a minute, do I want to accept everything? Do I want to be just like yes, 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 woman, yes, yes, yes to everything?
That's a good
Is
question.
there like a line that I shouldn't be crossing? When is acceptance, and when is just simple foolishness or
Mhm.
blindness, or lack of awareness, right?
Yeah. Right. I mean, I think once we know, like that, once we have the awareness, and if there's something that others do that's not acceptable in a sense, it's just not
Behavior.
right. It's not right. It's not, it's not a love and compassionate way of being and living. Then we have a choice to not participate in it. I think that's where we show up. We can accept that others do things and believe in things that they want to believe, but we don't have to participate in that.
Exactly.
Or we can ask others, listen, if this is what you want to do, I honor that, it's fine, but I'm sorry, I won't be playing a role in it.
Yeah.
I stand in a different light. So um also there's a map of consciousness, and it's by second the name. I'm gonna bring that in. It's by David R. Hawkins. So he has acceptance on his map of consciousness, and it um and an energetic log, and he uses hertz, not megahertz, like essential oils have megahertz. He uses hertz, and acceptance is 350 hertz. And it's when you have that, survival paradigm, so the negativity, we're just trying to exist and survive, and we are suffering. The acceptance is higher up, not saying better, worse, higher, lower, but the frequency, and it's in the reasoning and integrity paradigm. So it kind of ties up to what I said, like we are standing in the truth and we're standing in the light, and we don't have to participate in things that we don't agree with. And that's our integrity. And that's us just creating a boundary between this and that. Because being mad at it or fighting it or
Yeah,
thinking
the
that it's
resistance
affecting us,
creates
right?
chaos within us
Yes.
and blocks. It also, when I ask myself, where is acceptance coming from? What does it do? Where it sits? Like, I like to ask myself these questions when I go on subject. Where is it? It comes up from my solar plexus. So to me, acceptance is also empowerment. It empowers you to move forward, empowers you to create a change in your life into direction that you desire, right?
Yes.
So it is empowering. Resisting creates blocks. Acceptance creates flow.
Acceptance, one of the emotions that acceptance works with is rejection. When we reject
Opposite.
things, or where we are rejected. So the opposite polarity of acceptance is rejection. When we move through that, we release and heal everything that has to do with us being rejected or we rejecting other things. Because again, it shows up in our reality because we attract it because we felt rejected, and now we reject other things. And
So turning around 180 and
yes,
facing self, accepting everything about yourself with every flaws that we have. It creates compassion for self, but also if we accept everything about us, then we will have acceptance to others, because it's not going to be something that we're going to see as negative. We're going to be looking at certain stuff like it just is. It doesn't matter bad, good, and different. It just is. I am the way I am, and I'm fine with that. I accept it. If I don't accept something, I have a power to change it. If I'm not comfortable with something, I have a power to change it. But first, I have to accept what is, to kind of sort of like have the base where I'm at. Everybody at the beginning of the year are on that health journey. They want to exercise, lose weight, they look great, and for the bikini fit for the summer. Everybody have that, right? So they have to first set the base where I'm at. Okay, I weigh this much, my measurements are this is what I eat, now time to change. Right. So when you accept where you are at, you have the set point, you have the base to move forward. And right. Regardless of who we thought we are and what was wrong with us, accepting that is setting that base for a change and self-compassion, excuse me.
Right, and sorry,
go ahead.
because I just wanted to add to this. That was really good. Let's say, you want to lose weight, and now you're like, okay, you got to face what you've been eating, right? You got to face your addictions of your foods, let's say, and not blame your best friend who comes over with ice cream It's her fault. She brings it. That's not how we accept, that's blaming others, but accepting, okay, I've been eating a little more than I'm supposed to, as bad as it is. And it's hard to sometimes just what's the word? See that within ourselves and just, okay, not the best thing for me to do, but this is what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And going to this place, okay, now I have a power to change that. I can say no. Okay, I'm gonna tell my girlfriend or my friend, best friend, you know what, next time you come over, let's have some tea.
Right.
Making changes. So,
Yes.
not looking for the blaming spot on the outside of us, but just, yes, we bring that power back. We can, and that's inner
Right.
work. We gotta say no.
And that
We have to.
when it comes to feeding, you can move that through your mind, feeding your mind. It's what you choose to put into your being, and it's a choice. But you always come from the space of accepting first where you are at, and from there you can choose where you want to go. Right.
And
So.
another very important thing is when we do any healing and when we want to accept things, it's not only about here and now accepting, because whatever traumas we have experienced, they have roots in different lifetimes. So it's always good to just know that when you accept something, you accept it on all levels, all timelines, in all dimensions, past, present, and future, and just remember that that connection goes everywhere. Okay. And it might come up, in my healing journey many times, which was in the beginning very surprising, but at the same time just fascinating that that happens. Going through a healing, let's say with being with your inner child. In this lifetime, this is how I look like. This is my nationality. This is my ethnicity. So when I think of myself, I automatically see myself as this. Turns out when I was doing inner work with inner child, turns out that there's another me, another ethnic representations of me that look different, that acted different, different timelines. And I realized, wow, it overlaps. There's different parts of that. So we have to be aware of it. So because sometimes we feel, oh, I already done this, I fixed this, I've healed this, and then it shows up again. But it will keep on showing up. And we gotta just work through those. If we work through it once, it's gonna be easier for us to repeat those steps and do it again and have self-love and have acceptance and understanding that this is a journey. And when we heal one, another one has a way of coming. And that's good. It's good for it to come.
Since you touched the inner child, looking at the child, looking at kids, and you're looking at them every day now since you changed your job, and we can touch on that too. Kids don't judge. They don't look at your ethnicity, they don't look at your color, they don't judge your language. They may not understand that, so they will make big eyes if you speak different language, right? Or they would just walk away, but there is no judgment. Kids, when they feel emotion, they allow that emotion to move through. It's
They
us
have to.
grown-ups that we resist, because when we are growing up, we are told, shh, don't cry. It's not nice to cry. Don't scream. It's bad to scream. Right?
Yeah.
So there are those restrictions that when we growing up, we sort of accept as the norm, and we begin to block everything that we feel or see, and then we unwind that when we get to the point where we are at and realize that we need to accept some parts of us. And I never had a wild thing happening to me like you did with other version of your inner child. I did have sessions and healing with my inner child that always looks the same. But definitely accepting what was, because you can't change what was. And if you can't accept what was, you're gonna struggle moving forward because you will always be stuck in the past. And we did talk about it in our previous podcasts about living in now, letting go of the past. It's a part of accepting what was cannot be changed. What's gonna happen, you don't know. So the only way to live is in current moment. Today, you create your every tomorrow, right?
Right. And
And
what, go
go
ahead, go
ahead, go
ahead.
ahead.
And going back to the kids, because this is something that I've been really thinking about lately. And they always say from the age, when you are born to age 7, this is where we develop all these things. When it comes to kids, their energy always moves. They gotta be on the move. They gotta be into their action. They're moving. So they're born with that natural state of moving forward, which we need. We so need that. We always need to move forward. And like you said, when you say, don't do this, don't say that, don't, this is when adults introduce that stop, block, don't, we have to redirect our energy and redirect the children and their behavior, action, thought. Just let them
The
flow because
reaction to things.
yes, they're flowing and that's good. They gotta flow. So just allowing that flow to continue versus, don't do it. Because when you accept that don't do it, then you don't do it. And you
Then you
don't do
start.
it.
Then you
And
don't
you're
move.
you're you're stuck. Exactly. You're
Yes.
not. And it's
So
so hard to get that moving.
right. So now that you work with kids, because you just changed your job, you accepted what is, and you accept the job, and you have fun with the little ones.
Mhm.
Let's say there was a situation, or and you normally would say, "Don't do it." How would you approach that now? How would
Mhm.
you change the reaction? Let's say kid wants to scream.
Well, I'll give you an example actually of something that, that happened yesterday. Boys like to, it was very windy here yesterday, very windy. And they got onto the tree, onto the branches, and they're just enjoying the adrenaline. It's windy, everything's moving, and I'm just looking at them. But
Something, yeah.
but they're moving a little bit further away from the bark, from the center of the tree, so the branches begin to, move down. And we teach them, we're like, listen, the tree is alive, and we don't want to hurt the tree. And so not telling them, because in the beginning, yes, I was saying, listen, if you guys are gonna keep on going onto those thinner branches, then I'm gonna ask you to get off the tree. But I said it once and I said it second time, and I was just thinking, okay, how do I redirect that fun play? Because they had a blast. And then I came up with an idea. Okay, I'm like, there's another tree and there's more branches, and everybody's gonna have their own branch, and you can stand on it and have fun. And they were like, oh yeah, and they moved, no problem, moved from one place to another. And I was like, okay, phew, that was a good one. So just redirecting their play, not telling them don't play because they were having fun.
Right. And
Big
they would
learning.
break the tree, right? If you
Yes.
go to the benches. So, not don't do this. I was always trying to understand why parents say, because I said so. It never gave me any value when a parent says, because I said so. Of just saying, if you keep on doing this, you will fall down and you're gonna get hurt. Do you like being hurt? It wasn't, yes, in explanation, because sometimes parents don't have the answer, and that's what it was.
Exactly. They don't have, and and those young kids, because the kids that I work with are really young kids, they don't really understand it. So, I think, and it depends on the kid, like they have to have a room to learn. Everybody learns from their experience. So no matter how much the teacher or the parent will tell us what to do or not to do, there's gonna come a point where we gotta see it for ourselves. So, it's just being the
Sometimes the
best
branch is
guide.
gonna break and you're gonna fall down to learn that
Yeah.
it really does hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
And
then we
then you
gotta
had to
accept that.
accept.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's always consequences. So acceptance helps to alleviate suffering, um, letting go of a need to control everything. How about that control?
The control.
When do we
Yes.
want to control stuff?
When we think we're right, or when we
Or
think we're
when
in
we
the
want to feel
we're the
safe?
ones. True.
Yeah,
It comes from all kinds of different places.
right.
I'm gonna go back a little bit to that rejection because there's just
Okay.
three things that I wanted to point out which are very fun. So when it comes to rejection, that emotion sits in our lungs. When we reject others, we reject ourselves. When we reject ourselves, we reject life. And lungs are the breath,
The
life.
life.
So any illnesses with lungs would have to have that considered. Another thing is the liver. And liver, when we reject ourselves or others or situations, that creates a lot of anger and that creates a lot of violence and all that stuff. And that affects our liver. So that's when it
Definitely.
comes to the liver. And then intestine, same thing. When we reject things or ourselves, we have a fear of success. Okay, let's say we reject that we can be successful or we can accomplish anything in life. That's success. Fear of success would affect our intestine.
Which is digestion, right?
Yes, digestion. Yeah,
It's processing what is. I will always go back to digestion as digesting what's in your mind, digesting it's what
yes,
in your emotions and what's in your physical.
yeah.
There you have it.
There you have it.
Acceptance, learning to accept, being aware of things. And it's not that if you can't accept, you are a bad human. No, we learn how to accept things that coming towards us. We By allowing the emotion to flow through, not resisting, we create that harmony in our life. It doesn't matter if we're going one direction and then had to make a turn because something was standing on our way. Sometimes there's a higher reason for what's going on in our life. So learning how to accept and still create the flow. Think about river. There is a wall on a way for river to flow. It's gonna go around the wall and it's still gonna go. So that's the same
Just
way
like
we
us,
need
we
to
need to
move.
go.
Yes. So
Yes.
learning how to accept. All right.
Yeah. Healing work requires acceptance. So if you liked what you heard, like and share.
Like it
Um,
here. Yes.
subscribe to our podcast. We have other episodes on there about awareness, self-love, and everything else that you can
Hopefully you
find on
find
there.
something for yourself there.
Yes.
Until the next time.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye bye.